Hello people YouTube. Today we will be unboxing a brand new inbox i7 4790K to put in my old i7 desktop computer. Imagine it's 2013, you just bought yourself an upgrade processor. Obviously you probably wouldn't have all the Japanese or Chinese on there. I will hold it still long enough for everyone to be able to pause the video and translate if you'd like. That's pretty standard Intel stuff right there. All specs of the processor itself. More stuff back there. This is supposedly brand new inbox, never opened, so we will be the first to open it. I'm currently running a Cinebench test on my computer so we can see what it starts at and what it's going to be when it's done. We run single core as well as multi-core performance. But let's start with the unboxing of the brand new processor. I want to go from this side. And yes, I do have my thermal paste ready. We got the thermal compound from Arctic, the MX4, 4 grams of that. That should be plenty enough for that CPU, if not too much. So let's open and see what we get in the box. First time opening this, and first time bringing this old computer of mine. Still plays modern titles such as Black Ops 6, among some others. Clearly I don't know how to open a box, so we'll go from there. Comes with a new CPU cooler. Feels like it has some thermal paste already on there, but we'll put our own on. Yep, Intel. Basic Intel cooler. So we'll get this the rest of the way open here. Comes with a little Core i7 installation instructions and everything here. Flip through that for you real quick. Show them, like, of course, your different types of sockets and everything. Again, most of this might not be in full English, but we'll flip through it for you. If I can actually grab a page, that'd be great. Of course, I show you your basics. Don't touch the pins of the processor and everything. Anyone that's built any computers here and there before should know that. I've shown you how to install the cooler and everything. That's very nice. Very detailed. And of course, they don't show specific motherboards or anything because who knows, because these usually don't come standard. Of course, showing you a little 90-degree locking position for those. And some more Chinese or Japanese, and of course the back cover with the Core i7 sticker on the back of it. Let's get looking at this processor now. So it's everything in the box. Very good. Let's see if I don't bump the camera too much. There it is. Let me make sure all the pins look good on it. It doesn't particularly look like it's ever been installed. So the pack was sealed. I would hope it's never been installed. It looks very nice. So we're going to go finish our Cinebench run on the current CPU, which is an i7 770, I believe. Now I won't get the overclock and performance of the overclock chip like this without having a different motherboard because I'm running a standard Dell XPS motherboard. But yeah, let me get you a closer look at that. 4 gigahertz. That is a pretty substantial uptick from my 3.4 gigahertz I have currently. And that's base clock speed, so hopefully that'll be enough to boost a little bit of performance. I know not much, considering my graphics card is not the best. But we're going to start with that and go from there. And I will show you the before and after results here in a minute. And we'll see if it can load anything any faster. I mean, I'm running modern games on a 2013 processor. What do I expect, right? Well, we'll be back with you in a moment. Alright, so here are my results from my multi-core test on Cinebench. I'll take a screenshot and throw it at the end of this and run it for a couple seconds before we do the single core rating. And we're going to compare single core versus dual core from this one to the new processor once we get installed. So I'm going to run the single core test, and we'll come back to it from there. Okay, well, single core performance is still better than probably most of similar generation processors, but still not as good as I'd like. I mean, single core performance is just under a Threadripper 16 core, so individual core will keep up with the Threadripper, not much else. But we are going to swap out the processor, and we will go from there. Thank you. Okay, so we've already pulled the heatsink off, and I think I've determined that the Dell XPS heatsink looks a lot beefier than stock Intel. So I think we're going to keep with my old heatsink, as it has, looks like bigger plate here and more and thicker fins for better heat dissipation, and a beefier looking fan. So I think we're going to stick with this one because it plugs right onto my board without questioning anything. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here, and let's rip out this old 7700, is it? No, 4770. Let's rip this old guy out. Bear with me, I don't do too much processor work on my own stuff too often, so we're just going to be extra careful here. Pull out the old chip. Pull out the band-aid pins. Pins all look good. A little dust mites in there, but they ain't going to hurt nothing. Now the old 4770. And with the brand new 4790K. Again, as I said, won't be able to utilize the overclocking, but everything else should be premium. Okay, make sure we lined up good, make sure we're going to band-aid pins. Lower that down. Lower that. And we're going to apply our thermal paste. It's where everyone's going to ridicule me on how I apply thermal paste, and that is fine. More insults, the better. Yeah, I know it's going to use out. That's fine. Better to have more thermal paste than you need than not enough, in my opinion. Okay, now we're going to attempt to put the old cooler back on. Luckily, everything usually is keyed on these for installation. Now for the fun part, line everything back up. Okay, I may have overdone the thermal paste. It's a little loose. Let's see, today's screwdriver sponsor will be Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. Bought that while I was doing electrical work around the house. Downside is flathead bit, Phillips head holes. So I get for not knowing where all my tools are when I need them. Right. Just going to try to line this up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish buttoning up this case back together, this computer back together. Then we'll come back with the Simbench results after I get everything finished installed. Okay, so we just finished running our single and multi-core performance with the 4790K. Well, single core performance is definitely boosted over the 4770 from 844 to 965. Let's go ahead and look at our multi-core. Not too much of a booster, the 4770, but it is between 4 and 500 score over top. So definitely a little bit of improvement, better than it was. Not as good as a modern processor, obviously, but we're going to hope that it helps for what I need for now, until it's time to upgrade to a new PC finally. That poor Dell XPS is getting as much performance brought out of it as it can take.